So I'm gonna be blunt and bold here. I'm gonna have a crazy hot take. I think this is the greatest big three that's ever been assembled. I know that they do not have a championship to back it. I understand that completely. I comprehend that wholeheartedly. They got to bring hardware before that is a solidified statement. I'm saying we have never seen a big three not only established in their own right individually, but be as productive as they are on the court together. So we know that Kyrie has always been Kyrie in Cleveland, in Boston, wherever he needed to be. KD's been the man since he stepped foot in the league. And James Harden was running shit in Houston and was probably a game away, if or an injury away with Chris Paul to go to an NBA Finals. Um, but we all know that all of them have the capability of scoring 30 in an instant. We all know that when they're on the court together, they're not fighting for who's taking the last shot. They're not going out there and they're not debating of, you know, can they what's the word I'm looking for? Can they play cohesive basketball? Can they get their teammates included? We all know James Harden has been very unselfish in his time here in Brooklyn. And we all know KD, like that famous video shows when he was in Golden State, and all of them were pointing at each other saying he needs to shoot it, but they were all wide open. So KD doesn't have a selfish narrative behind him. I would say that Kyrie is probably the more complicated player because of his off the field and off the court antics. A lot of his media interviews, his inability to kind of show up for games where he's like, "Oh, I just want to take a day off. I want a mental day," or he just like goes off for a week and says, I need personal time." Other than that, the three of them, their pure talent is just unmatched. I mean, obviously we know Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James brought two championships to Miami, and they had four finals appearances in that big three's tenure together. But we all know wholeheartedly Chris Bosh underperformed that entire 4 years. Chris Bosh was not one of those. He was not putting up consistent numbers like Dwayne was. He was not putting up Toronto numbers because he wasn't the focal point. It was Braun and Wade pretty much doing everything, and Chris Bosh had spurts of appearances where he'd have 20 plus or have like a double double or have maybe even a 30-point game. It wasn't as common as these three fucking super mega stars. They could all drop 30 together, they could potentially lose because of how bad their defense is, or if because that their bench or supporting cast doesn't show up. I didn't even get to the acquisitions of LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. I'm talking solely big three. If you were to list a bunch of big threes in NBA history culminating together and being successful, again, I know that they haven't won yet, but I'm saying if they were to hoist the trophy this season, they might go down as the best big three in NBA history. And I think that that is because they are all just, you got the hot hand. All right, cool. I'll just I'm gonna score 15, 20 points. You go for 40. Okay, do you hot? Do you think, bro? Like they don't care who shoots, and it's like that saying always goes: if I gotta eat, if I'm gonna eat, everybody's gonna eat. And the three of them are scary when they're hot, man. And it's showing that they already have the highest ranked or highest what's the word I'm looking for? Highest officiated.
It's offensive rating.
They have the highest offensive rating in NBA history. The Mavericks just broke that last year with like 115, 116 points per game or whatever the hell that was. Brooklyn's damn near averaging 130. I stand by what I said. I have no regrets and I will not back down upon it. These three together have the potential to be the greatest big three of all time.
Wait, did you say potential or do you think that they are? There's a difference between the two.
Okay, so I think that they are, but I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, I know people don't share my opinion. They have the potential to be over time in regards to everybody else's opinion. I already think that they are.
Okay. I won't go that far. I think they're great. I mean, when you have Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant all on one team, yeah, the team's going to absolutely light up the court as far as like scoring points goes. But when I look at somebody like maybe the Golden State Warriors a couple of years ago with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, I would probably go with them simply because of the fact that KD and Steph are clearly they're like they're two out of like the top 5 greatest shooters ever. And when you have somebody like Klay Thompson, who's probably one of the best two-way players in the league, arguably one of the best defensive players in the backcourt in NBA history in like the last like 15 years or so, as far as just his defensive skills go. I like them a little bit more simply because of what Klay brings with his skill set.
Defensive versatility.
He adds that defensive presence that when you look at the trio of James, Kyrie, and Kevin, you don't necessarily have. Can they play defense when they need to? Yeah. But I would take Klay all day over any of them when it comes to their defensive presence and what they can do on that side of the ball. But and you look at what Golden State had. I mean, they're one Achilles injury away when KD tore his Achilles from getting a three-peat. That's how good they were. I mean, they were instantaneous favorites to go to the finals once KD got there. And had KD not tore his Achilles in the Toronto series in the finals, they were going to get the three-peat. And mind you, had they actually gotten that three-peat, they would have only gotten the 4th three-peat in NBA history. There's only been 3. 2 of them were with Jordan, and then the other one was with Kobe and Shaq. So that's the thing. And usually these big threes, they don't hang around long. Pretty much the shelf life on these trios is usually about 3 to 4 years. So could Brooklyn go out and do it the way that they have with these 3 guys? Yeah, maybe. But they got to win at least one title first before I can even make the assertion or the jump to kind of put them as the greatest trio ever. I would still probably give it to KD, Steph, and Klay, just because those guys were automatic when they hit the court. And
so you're telling me in a hypothetical 3-on-3, you have Kyrie versus Steph, KD versus himself, Klay versus James. You are taking Golden State over that big 3.
Yes. Because, well, I mean, KD's in both of them.
KD cancels it out, like pretty much relatively.
The thing is, who is going to stop Steph between Kyrie and James?
Kyrie knows how to play defense. When they had their matchups and they were both healthy, those were great matchups, like going shot for shot. Kyrie obviously taking advantage of Steph's inability to defend on or off the dribble. And if Steph's cold, Steph's cold. You have to bank on Steph being hot.
I get that. But the thing is, I could put Klay on James and slow him down. I'm not going to be able to.
Didn't you say that he was probably one of the best scorers in the world?
Who?
He'll get his shots up. Didn't you say that James was probably one of the best scorers?
James is one of the best. He is.
He's going to get his points.
He's going to get his points, but I would at least give Klay a decent shot to slow him down. I'm not saying that he's going to lock him up.
Yeah, no, he'll slow him down.
But give me somebody to pick to go one-on-one with James. I would pick Klay without any hesitation. He's one of the best defenders in the league. It's either that or Kawhi. Between one of those two, but I would take Kawhi. I would take Klay in this sense because, he's in that trio between KD, Steph, and Klay.